So in this part, we're going to talk about understanding anger. Anger is an interesting emotion. If we're going to think of it as a molecule with 3 different elements. So the first element is hurt. Anger will always have some element of hurt in there, feeling hurt. Anger will also always have some element of projection. We call that spot it, you got it. When you're seeing an aspect of someone in someone else that you haven't yet aligned or integrated in self. And the third element is a call to action. Anger is an active energy. It's not a passive one. There's a action that needs to be taken when there's anger involved. So let's use an example. So rather than it be theoretical, we'll make it very practical. Imagine living with someone. This is one that other people can relate to, this example. And they don't necessarily share the same habits that you do. Say, for instance, they leave the house untidy, or whether it's not doing dishes or leaving laundry around, or whether it's parking in the garage spot so that you can't fit your car in. There's any number of things that might arise for you. So I want you to imagine living with someone that doesn't necessarily, has behaviors that don't fully align with yours, and that produces a bit of anger. Yeah? So in this example, let's just use washing up. The hurt. Where does the hurt come from? Well, perhaps it's an element of maybe feeling disrespected or not considered. The projection. The way that we find the projection is we ask the question, what's the accusation that I want to make of this person? And so in this case, the accusation might be, they don't think about anybody else. Second part of that question is, how's that true of me? So with this one, I'll share my previous example with my example from my previous partner. His threshold was just very different than mine. So for him, he didn't register it as being mess unless all the dishes were dirty. If there were only a few, it didn't, for him that wasn't messy, or there wasn't any reason to wash dishes. So in wanting him to fall into line with the way that I do things, that's basically me saying, my values are more important, my thresholds are more important than yours. Do you see how that element of projection works? I'm wanting him to live by my standards and yet not thinking about the way that he wants, right? So the accusation is, you're not considering me. Well, how was I considering him and his threshold and his standards? And that call to action, well, what's the call to action there? When I worked this out, the call to action was very simply, get a cleaner. He doesn't notice that it's messy. He doesn't want to do it. I don't want to do all the washing up after him all the time. Let's just get a cleaner. Problem solved. That was the call to action. When we take the time to unpack the emotion, we can see the different elements, right? We can see clearly, oh, right, so this is the hurt came from the meaning that I made of it, and the feeling like I was being disrespected or inconsidered was from meaning making, right? The data didn't change. The dishes were left out and unclean, but I could choose to make a different meaning out of that. I could just choose to say, well, he doesn't notice and he's preoccupied with other things. And in finding the projection, that enabled me to change the meaning, release that hurt, and then find a call to action. So, in order, acknowledge that there's hurt, look for the accusation, change the meaning, and then find an action that feels aligned and inspired in that moment. That's a little bit about how we understand anger. Hope that was useful for you.